What's going on in the soccer world, man? Like
Men's,
the
women's,
greater soccer, the football world, I guess.
football
The
world.
greater,
There's a few
like
things.
the big hits.
There's a few things.
Okay.
Chelsea won the Club World Cup last week, as you've probably heard, for reasons unrelated to the actual game.
I actually haven't heard it.
Oh, well, they played against, I don't even remember who they played. I think PSG. Yeah, they played PSG on Sunday at MetLife, and Donald Trump was there. And typically after like big tournaments like World Cup, well, there was, I guess, a bit of, I don't even know if you can call it controversy, but typically after a game, the winners will get their medals and then they'll get their trophy. Someone will present them the trophy, or there'll be a stand for them to pick the trophy up from, and then the team as a group will lift the trophy together. But it kind of, I guess, drew more eyes, not only because Trump was there, but because when they were going to lift the trophy, he didn't move off of the stage. Even though like the president of FIFA was like, okay, we gotta go. And he just like stood there to be in the middle of the celebration. So I think it was just kind of funny, but a lot of people were upset about it because it's like that's their moment and, stuff like that. But yeah, Chelsea won Club World Cup. We got the women's Euros going on in Switzerland still, I believe. I know England went to the semifinals. They had a crazy game against Sweden just the other day. Sweden was leading 2-0, and England came back, tied it. Then they ended up going to penalties, and England won in penalties. So there's that aspect. Tobin Heath of the U.S. women's national team, she officially hung up her boots. So she's like an all-time great.
Sheesh.
And
Yeah, I'm familiar with her work.
yeah. So that was kind of a big moment this past week as well. Just not having a player like her on the field anymore. All right, so it is time for our weekly segment. Does Alex Zumwalt still have a job?
Yes. Would you like to give an update on that Teal Rising Cup?
I would like to give an update. So you see what had happened was the Current came marching in, and they beat Corinthians 2-1 to win the Teal Rising Cup. Haley Hopkins was our MVP. She showed up. She showed out during both games. And yeah, next game for the Current will be August 1st when they resume NWSL play. So looking forward to them continuing their season. Hopefully they can push for the NWSL championship.
Yes, sir. I have a little friend that joined me.
Who would that be? Who's that?
It's Scoots.
Scoots. What's up, dog?
The legend.
Cat?
Well, actually, yeah. He's more of a cool cat.
Yeah.
Oh, ow, that hurt a lot. That hurt a lot, buddy. Say hi.
Hey, Scoots. It's been a minute.
I don't know anything about baseball.
You'd be surprised.
Ow. God. I do want to talk a little bit about the transactions made by the Royals over the All-Star break. And let me just pull this up real quick. So, first things first, the Royals ended up trading Cam Devaney, a 7-year minor leaguer who just recently got called up, for Adam Frazier, 90-year-old infielder and sometimes right fielder that we just had last year.
Yeah.
Any initial thoughts from you on that?
I mean, this isn't like anything that's game changing. Like, this doesn't move the needle at all for the Royals. It's my hope and my prayer that they have more moves to make, because this This is really just more of a lateral move, just getting a guy that you probably trust a little bit more than Devaney. I feel like that's really the only upside to this, given his experience. But I mean, glad to have you back, Adam. Like, I don't hate him or anything. Good utility man. He's a plug and play guy. So for depth and things like that, yeah, it's a good move. But again, doesn't really make us better. So,
You know, I'm not happy to have him back. But unfortunately, I am the type of person that when I have an opinion, but then I see people with essentially the same opinion, but just awful reasoning, I have to defend the move that I don't like. And I would say overall, people are freaking out about this trade and how bad it is, which I think is mainly coming from a source of just like really wanting like a blockbuster trade, which is fair. They want us to make big moves. I get it. But at the end of the day, Devaney has been a minor leaguer for 7 years and hasn't really done anything. So we're not really giving up much of anything. It's not like we're giving up super young, fresh talent. And Adam Frazier is hitting a lot better this year, 250 and some change, which is better than the 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters in our lineup, unless Fermina's in that. But I think it doesn't hurt us. I don't think it does a whole lot for us. I'm disappointed that I'm not seeing better moves being made, but it doesn't hurt us per se.
sure.
But that does bring me into another point, which is people are saying, the presses have been printing, that this trade for Adam Frazier means that we are buying and not selling, and we are going to try to win now and make the playoffs, go on a run. I do like that. Do I have complete faith in whatever those moves are going to be to get us to that place? No, not even a little bit. But I do like that seems to be what we're going for.
Gotcha.
But I could also see us trade Lugo and Bubich tomorrow for like a couple minor league prospects, and we were actually selling, and we just don't know what we're doing. But hey, whatever it is, whatever it is. So big story that came out with the Royals this week, and that is that the Royals are now looking towards a possible stadium in my birthplace of North Kansas City. And
North side guy.
What do you say?
So you're North side guy. I didn't know that. I'm South side.
Well, I never lived there. I just was born in a hospital there. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're thinking of putting it in North KC, Clay County. This comes after a year ago, the great Kansas Cityans voted to reject the stadium proposal for downtown Kansas City for, I would say, many good reasons. And, the owners have been threatening to move to Kansas. The owners have talked about how the cement is not good. It wasn't built well at Kauffman. All these new things that we didn't learn until they lost the vote. But anyways, they're thinking of putting a park in North Kansas City. So let's hear your feelings about that.
Yeah, so it is kind of nuanced. Like, we've kind of been in this roller coaster, and you talked about the alleged failing concrete and all that stuff, which, for context, the same builders built Kauffman Stadium and Arrowhead, same time, same builders. I'm assuming they use the same materials. I wouldn't imagine why they didn't, but apparently Kauffman's concrete is failing while Arrowhead's is not. Regardless, both stadiums are over 50 years old. And kind of focusing with the Royals, there was that, of course, that downtown talk. Again, I don't want to dive too much into it, but it definitely kind of would have been a traffic nightmare. I feel like downtown doesn't have the infrastructure that's needed. You'd be limited by space. There are some cool ideas, like as far as the Crossroads location, kind of building a South Loop Park in between T-Mobile Center and the new baseball stadium, which cool idea, but again, I don't know how that would work given the current design of downtown and a lot of people's needs to use cars to get to and from places. KC land-wise is very large. Now, focusing on the North Kansas City site. At this point, I know this isn't very rational of me. I'm kind of anything but Kansas. Is it, based in reason? Maybe not. But I do feel like North Kansas City is the best option for the Royals. You're going to have more space, less traffic headache. You can have the traditional parking spaces. Fans can still tailgate the way that they do now.
How are you envisioning that they'll tailgate?
I mean, by having parking, actual parking spaces, parking spaces outside.
There
of
will
the
not
stadium.
be.
There wouldn't be in
That
North
will not
Kansas
exist.
City?
No, it's in the middle of. It's in the middle of the city, the middle of all the buildings. If you look at this.
Let me look it up.
Let me send you this picture. There's maybe a few parking garages, but not that will hold anywhere near the amount of fans in there.
I didn't know that's what they were going for.
I had the same thought. I was like, the great thing about North Kansas City is there's so much space there.
Okay.
That we don't have to go through this downtown parking fiasco.
Yeah.
And we can have a bunch of parking lots again.
Since Tyler has brought it to my attention that it will not be the traditional stadium and then huge parking lot outside, this is kind of like downtown, but in North Kansas City, surrounded by buildings and developments. Maybe they'll have a few parking garages for parking, but I really don't like this this layout, just because it's you create the same issue that you have in downtown, but you're located further away from the amenities that downtown provides. Not to say that they don't have anything in North Kansas City, but when you compare that to the restaurants and the hotels and the attractions that downtown provides, that's one of the reasons why so many stadiums are built in downtown to begin with. But if you're going to create the same type of vibe in North Kansas City, an area that's not a true downtown, then it's kind of like a lose-lose. You don't have the space for parking. You don't have immediate access to all the amenities. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't really like that layout. The idea is cool, but the layout, I don't know about that.
Yeah, so here's how I feel about it. I also pretty much think fuck Kansas, but that was the exact words you said, right?
You added some flavor, right? But sure.
Okay.
Don't sue me.
I'm nothing without my flavor. But I also like North Kansas City as a location. I'd like to preface all of this with, this is if there is no possible way that we can stay at current Kauffman longer. That's the only way that I am looking at this, because if there is any way for us to do that, which takes I don't know, not having selfish owners or something, if there is any way to do that, then I'd want to stay. But let's say we have to leave. I do like North Kansas City as an option, and I do get excited with just the prospects of a new stadium and how cool it might look. Again, this is all if it has to happen, because another thing I don't like is the amount of government money that is going into it, which is going to be a lot because there's a bidding war to get them to stay in either state, and they're giving them as many cuts as possible, and that essentially comes out of our pockets for things that the money could be used better for. Taking all of that away, I thought North Kansas City is the best place for it until I saw that it's right smack dab in the middle of downtown Kansas City. 'Cause it almost just feels like a billionaire who woke up one day and was like, I don't like how my stadium looks anymore. I want something with buildings around it. That'd be really cool if I had buildings around it. So he just decided that he's gonna move and he's gonna pick a place in the middle of a downtown, and he doesn't seem to care about the parking nightmares, the effect on businesses that might have to be like demolished or move. He doesn't care about who has to pay for it. He's just going to do it no matter what. And I don't really like that. And I will give 1 point to Kansas, although I'd rather kill myself than see them put Kauffman or whatever it'll be called in Kansas. But I believe they were putting it out in the Legends. And there is a lot more space there and a lot better opportunities for parking. And that's the point I will give to that.
Yeah, that's the only place in Kansas that I feel like they may have an argument, because just for the exact reasons you laid out. The Legends area, they've really built up that area the last 10 to 15 years. Sporting KC, their stadium's already over there. My all-time favorite store in history, Nebraska Furniture Mart, is out there. And they've really just been, building things around the Speedway, which was kind of like the original fixture over there. So I can see that. I did see, I think this was kind of old, but like plans for them to put it like off of Shawnee Mission Parkway, and they would have to like squeeze the stadium in. I'm like, why would you even, like, who thinks of this? Like, you're going to try to squeeze a stadium in because the Cincinnati Reds did something similar, and then you're just going to leave people out to dry. Like, how are people going to get to the stadium when nobody lives right there? And if you do build it there, whoever does live there, you're going to have to knock down their houses. So I don't know. I really feel like they should stay in Missouri. Obviously, I would like them to stay at Kauffman, but I understand if that isn't possible. But it's like, put it somewhere that makes sense for the community, that benefits the community long term, not just something that looks like something all the other teams have done. Like, the reason why people bring up, we want a downtown stadium, is because most other teams have done downtown stadiums. But not every downtown is built the same way. So it's like, we have to do what's best for the city. And if the city isn't built for that, if the public transit isn't built for that, if you have to knock down hundreds of businesses and housing in order to build a stadium, you're hurting the city rather than helping it. So that's kind of my take on it. All right, so next we're going to talk about your Royals hot takes. These are our comments that we had from our TikTok post. So I'll start reading them off, and then we'll kind of go for there and have a little bit of a discussion.
Let me preface that I'm going to try to be nice.
Okay.
But I don't know how long that is going to happen, but we do have Austin here to play good cop.
Unless Tyler's too nice, and then I bring the hammer down. We'll see.
There's almost a 0% chance of that happening.
You'd be surprised.
But go ahead.
Okay. So Landon says MJ Melendez deserves a shot at the show every year. Thoughts?
Okay, this is an interesting one because I think I smell an MJ Melendez defender, and as a fellow MJ Melendez defender myself, we may be the only two in Kansas City. So this is interesting to me. I don't know necessarily what Landon means here by every year. I mean, technically he has been playing in the show every year, and then when he has struggled, he's been sent down, but not like shut down for good necessarily. I will say he has been improving. He's been slowly improving. And I'm someone who thought he should be a starter this year, but even I, when I saw him hitting like 85 or something crazy like that, even I knew it was time for him to go back down, to work out a lot of things, and I knew it was going to take a long time. But I do think he can get back to that point where his confidence is back, and where he can be a productive hitter for us. He's been hitting a lot of home runs down there. He's been getting his average up. They recently just put him in the leadoff spot, and he's had like a crazy amount of walks since they've done that. So I think their strategy is in getting his game back is slowly working. And I don't even know if it'll be this year, but I think he will be back at some point. And just last little thing I want to say on that. It's Melendez was going to struggle regardless. Clearly, he has a lot of problems with his game that he needs to work out. But I do think Q, in multiple different situations, has destroyed his confidence. MJ bat so much better in the second half of the season last year. And then out of nowhere, Q gave him like 5 at-bats in the playoffs. And some of them were pretty good at-bats. And one of them almost won a game that would have extended the playoff series if it wasn't for a great Juan Soto catch. And then the start of this year, Q barely even tried to see what he was doing. At first, waited for him to struggle, saw that everyone was struggling, and then gave him an opportunity. But it felt like his confidence was pretty crushed. So I wish we could instill more confidence in him going forward.
So
okay.
So Mike Trailer says we need John Rave out of the lineup. Thoughts?
No, I can speak on that. Well, John, you said John Trailer?
Mike Trailer says we need John Rave.
Mike Trailer says, okay.
Yeah.
Mike on John, violence. I absolutely see what he's saying. I just last week I said we should option him down, and I'm still okay if we option him down. I think that would be a fine decision, especially if we called up someone like Blanco or Waters. It's still a mystery why Waters is even down in the first place. He's out hitting the entire bottom 4 of our lineup. Really doesn't make sense why we sent him down for a guy that we ended up trading and never saw an at-bat. But I will say what Mike Trailer didn't know is that right before we read his comment, John Rave would hit a 3-run home run to get us back into the game. So it is something to consider, but I do understand this opinion.
I hear it too. I just think that Rave would be better as a depth piece if he's kept up. I wouldn't like the idea of him being an everyday hitter. I still feel like he, of course, small sample size, but I'd like to see more out of him batting, but which I don't think is where it needs to be for an everyday type of guy or even an every other day type of guy. I think he's just a depth piece if somebody needs a rest, for me personally.
Yeah, for sure. But he does have potential for the future, like
Absolutely.
future years. I mean, he is one of the... I saw this stat the other day while I was perusing Baseball Savant, because I'm a nerd like that. He does have one of the fastest 90-foot sprint speeds in the MLB, which I knew he was definitely like a faster dude, but that surprised me a little bit.
So next comment we got Josh Harrington. He says Cole Ragans should transition to the bullpen due to injuries and become the closer. Ursig, Estevez, Ragans, 7, 8, 9 would be electric.
I don't know what he's basing that off. Let me just, before I say something stupid, let me look at Cole Ragans' career.
It seems like just because of injuries, he'd rather limit his innings pitched. But yeah.
I don't think it's like the worst take I've heard in my entire life. It is a rotator cuff injury, I believe. So it maybe it's even needed in terms of just like him not being able to pitch as much. But as far as saying that trio would be electric, we have literally, I believe, almost no sample size of if Cole Ragans would work out in a relief pitcher role. And relief pitching and starting pitching are two completely different beasts. You can be incredible at one and terrible at the other, and it goes both ways. So I'm not very intrigued on that necessarily, but I see where you're coming from. But I will say Hunter Harvey just started his rehab assignment, and something that I know was electric was when we had Harvey, Ursig, Estevez earlier this year.
So next comment is from Aiden, and Aiden says
Adam Frazier looks pissed, just like I'm about to look after I hear this comment from Aiden.
What is funny is this comment is about Adam Frazier, and honestly, he probably has already heard this, so that's probably why he looks so pissed on the broadcast right now. But what Aiden says is Adam Frazier trade was the worst trade I've seen in forever. Forever. Said in the Sandlot like 16 times. What are your thoughts?
Well, Scoots actually has some thoughts on that. He's going to tell me in a second. Okay. Right. All right. Well, I'm not going to be as crass as some of the words that Scoots used, but that's just not true. That's just not the case here. Scoots, stop. Scoots is so mad about what you said that he's trying to knock over a pitcher of water on my desk that would essentially destroy all of my equipment. But that's just not the case. It's not an exciting trade. I don't like Frazier for personal reasons. I don't, like, obviously he's not anything special. I also think his improvement of hitting 250 plus this year versus 202 last year could be crushed in an instant when Alex Zumwalt gets his hands on him. But it's really not that bad of a trade. It's not bad. It's not like a crazy good one, but it doesn't risk anything at all. Cam Devaney is a 7-year minor leaguer who hasn't really done anything, and what we're getting is a veteran bat that can pinch hit, maybe get a run here or there. It doesn't hurt anything, so you can't really call it an awful trade.
Yeah, it was exactly what we said earlier. Like, this trade, like you said, doesn't risk a lot. It doesn't make us better, and I think that will disappoint a lot of people. But that doesn't mean it's like the worst trade ever. Like it's not like we got hosed or anything. Like we traded not a lot and we got back not a lot.